Miz in the midday. Let's talk about it. The Philadelphia Eagles have crashed and burned. The Dallas Cowboys, what an epic failure. Two teams that should be playing next week are gone, and both games were humiliating. From a Giants fan perspective, I love it. But yo, there's bigger fish to fry. Check it out. The Eagles star leading, the leader of the team, the center, Kelsey's retiring. They have several players that are way over age. The secondary is trash. A.J. Brown wants out. It's well known that he's unhappy. And I gotta tell you, man, under the pressure, the last 5 or 6 weeks, Hurts has cracked, melted like a Carvel ice cream on a July afternoon. Eagles got a lot of issues, brothers. For the first time in years, the Eagles have major issues, and it's not going to be fixed for a while. You're watching the demise of the Eagles as they step down. And you know what? I hope they keep that coach. Cocky, arrogant, clowny Sirianni. Guy looks lost without those coordinators. So do me a favor, hold on to him another year. The last thing I want to see is Belichick in our division. Hopefully he just signs that contract down in Atlanta. Just go to Atlanta. Perfect place for you, Belichick. Stay out of the NFC East. The Dallas Cowboys got destroyed by a young kid, Love. And by the way, a little side note, for those of you who think that you bring in a young QB and you start him right off the bat, we're talking about the Giants, you're wrong. Take a look at Green Bay as they do it again. Every time they get a quarterback, they sit the guy for 2 years, 3 years, and boy, do they benefit from it. Let a kid sit, learn, grow, study the film, and learn how to identify different defenses and blitzes. And you'll have a much better QB on the field rather than throw him in the fire on a team that's not ready, a cracked O-line, and the biggest thing of all, he hasn't been coached up to recognize his different defensive packages. If you don't let a kid learn and grow, and dude, you could say whatever you want. I'm especially talking about the New York metropolitan area, where the fan base is on top of you, where the media is all over you. These things matter. Let a kid adjust to the city and learn how to handle all aspects. And you may not like Daniel Jones. You may love Daniel Jones, right? You may probably don't love Daniel Jones, and you want to move on as quick as possible. But the best thing that can happen, and it's going to happen, this is what's going to happen, is whatever kid the Giants bring in, and it's not necessarily going to be at 6, because it's starting to look to me like it's not going to be the guy they really want, so they're not going to spend their 6th pick on him. I could see them coming back into the first with their 2-2s, or grabbing someone with their first, second-round pick, like a JJ or a Penix, who would maybe, hopefully, be left over towards the 20s or early second round. But, yo, if Drake May's gone, and I don't care whether you like him or not, I don't care what college he goes to and how he puts his fucking socks on. Okay? He's the best quarterback in the draft, along with Caleb Williams, obviously. Now, some people think Caleb is not for the New York area or certain big places. Whatever these two feel, Dable and Sean and their scouting gurus, whatever it is, him and May won't be there. And I'm not big on Jaden Daniels, because I'm scared to death that he identifies to me as one of those quarterbacks that's sexy and puts up the big numbers in college at LSU with star receiver, but doesn't translate to the NFL, where you have to work much harder, and it's about running a system. You're not going to have superstar wide receivers do it all for you. And the defenses in the NFL, as we all know, they close those gaps in a hurry. So I'm not so sure Jaden Daniels is going to translate to the NFL on a level he's playing at LSU. And that scares me to death. Sorry. Not taking that chance. Got no time for chances. We got to hit it. We got to hit it this time. There's no more if, ands. I understand. You bring in a QB, you're sitting behind Jones. He learns everything he's got to learn. Maybe he steps in the middle of next year. Maybe he doesn't step until year 2. I'm good with that. That's the way to do it. A lot of Green Bay Packers. I got to give them a hand. They ran Rodgers out of town. They were crucified for it. It's the same thing the organization did to Brett Favre. They know when to cut the rope. They know that a divorce is never pretty. And they do what they got to do. And they don't doubt themselves. They got the confidence of a lion, and they move on to the next kid, and they groom them, and here you go. And believe me, if you think it doesn't matter, that it's a small town USA where the fans back you up no matter what, nobody criticizes each other, the fan base doesn't go to war on Twitter with each other, doesn't pick away at the players, and there's no media there to give a shit about, hounding you, all that matters. That's why these QBs in Green Bay succeed. Those are big reasons. No pressure, no criticism. They don't get torn down by their city, the media, and the fan base. They actually get risen and put on a pedestal out there in Green Bay. Believe it. No coincidence they're on their third quarterback in 30, 35 years, and it's looking like another major success. I'm not telling you he's going to be Brett Favre or Rodgers, but he don't got to be. He's already done well and beyond this year. Won a playoff game against the big bad Cowboys in Dallas, and it wasn't just a win. They mopped that team up and down the field. And Love was a big part of it. There were times where there wasn't a Cowboy on the screen. 30, 35 yards, wide open receivers over and over and over. Post, middle. Embarrassing for that Dallas defense. Embarrassing. Somebody tell Parsons get off the podcast. I'm one of his biggest fans. I wanted that guy. He's a beast. Get off the podcast. You're too young, and you're in the middle of you're going into your prime. You shouldn't be talking about other players during the same evenings that you just lost a fucking playoff game. That's embarrassing. You have no right to talk about other teams. You got no right to put the Niners and Buffalo Bills and other teams on the pedestal after you, who should be going to at least the NFC Championship, just got smacked around and thrown out of the playoffs in your home building. It's not the right time. You should not be podcasting throughout the season. You should be concentrating on gym, conditioning, and football and film room. You'll have plenty of time for your podcast in 15 years from now. Stop it. If you want to be one of the greatest, stop. That social media and side shit will only just take you off the road. The Cowboys have many free agents. They're getting old on the O-line. Dak Prescott's about to get another bundle. Right? They're talking about, $400 million plus for this guy? He can't get you through the playoffs. Very good quarterback, but, shit the bed in the playoffs every single time. I mean, you're going to pay him his big money. That's a huge chunk. Then Parsons, in a year from now or so, is going to want $100 million? You got the rest of the team that you got to pay also. There are players that are going to want money, and you're going to lose some defensive linemen, and you're going to lose offensive linemen because of it. So, I don't tell you the Cowboys are done. I still think they're going to be right up at the top there next year. They're still a very good team, but they got financial issues coming, and I'm going to tell you right now. Atlanta's owner Arthur, just hand Belichick a blank check right now, please. Because Jerry Jones is sniffing around now. He hasn't cut McCarthy, and as each day goes by, that McCarthy's not fired, I believe he gets closer to staying. I'd rather not see Belichick go to the Cowboys, obviously. They got the talent and the defense. And you don't want to hand Micah Parsons and a Lawrence to Bill Belichick, man. Because he will make them look like a modern day, not LT, but something close to it. Yeah, I'd rather not see it. Let's avoid it. Or what I'm trying to say in this video, is the New York Giants are not far off. This is a monster draft at 6. 2 second-rounders, a third-rounder. And you got money to play with in the offseason. And I'm looking for a free agent, really good wide receiver. Someone that can open up the other receivers. Wandell, Hyatt on the other side, and Waller, a tight end dude. You got Bellinger also. I believe you got to go get a receiver in a free agency. You add a guard in free agency. Now you decide, is Evan Neal your tackle? Are you going to keep rolling and growing him? And I'm still a big believer in Evan Neal. I just give him a little more time, another year or two. It's okay. We're not going to the Super Bowl tomorrow. Develop the kid. Don't give up on it. If it's not working, you move him inside the guard where he's a really good run blocker, and you draft another tackle. If it's not early, you could get him in the second round. There are a couple free agents you're probably not going to spend the money on a tackle like that. You'll get one in the draft. Look, man, if Drake May's gone, that's the guy they want, whether you like it or not. Well, you all know that's the guy that they really, really love. You always want the guy you love. He's probably going to be gone to Washington at 2, or New England the latest at 3. Khalib's probably a bear at 1. And if he's not a bear at 1, I don't see him making it out of 3, the latest. And Jaden Daniels is a wild card. Dable's the right coach to develop a QB and turn him into a major piece. But I'm not sure about Jaden Daniels. That's why I'm going to call him a wild card. I don't know if they like him or if they don't like him. And I still don't even know if he's going to make it to 6. Because maybe New England wants a quarterback and they're only left with him. And I could see the new coach drafting a Jaden Daniels. Look, if your quarterback's not there at 6 and you got a couple of QBs that are going to slide back, and the guy I really think that they would like for later, meaning early second round, late first, would be J.J. McCarthy. He's smart. He's a game manager. He doesn't have a great arm, but he's very smart. He runs the RPO if needed. He's a pocket guy. He's an alpha, and he fits the Giants organization. Again, I'm just giving you the facts. You got Penix also, who might be back in the first round, maybe early second. You know, if you like one of those two and you think that you could get him later, you trade your 2-2s and you come up. You do what you got to do. Or you give a 2 and a 3 to come up into the late 20s. Whatever the point sheet says. And you get your guy to sit behind Jones and you get him ready for the following year. And that's reality. The NFC East is changing. The time is for the Giants to flip the script right now, and I believe Washington's going to start to flip the script also. I believe they're going to get a Drake May or Khalib. And I think with their new owner, a new head coach, Washington's going to finally become a real football team and not a circus. So I believe every 8, 9 years, every decade or so, the division flips, right? And the Giants and Washington have been bad for several years, and the Eagles and Dallas have had their window. And unfortunately for both those scrubs, they came away with nothing. The Eagles won a ring a while back, but they should have won a ring these last 2 years or so, and it hasn't happened. And I believe that now they're in trouble. They're going to have to redo things. It's going to take a little while. They're not doing it in the offseason. They've gotten old. And the Cowboys are going to run into cap issues here because you got to pay Dak. Parsons is going to want big money. So you're going to have issues. You can't pay everyone. And I believe the Giants and the next team runner-up, they have a chance to flip the division even by next year. You can roll with Daniel Jones again. And if the QB that you wanted is not there at 6, and you know you could get your other QB later, with the 6 picks, you could go one of the big 2 tackles, or a guy I think the Giants are going to go with, because I think you keep stacking the trenches, keep building the trenches. Yes, Neighbors from LSU is a sexy toy, something the Giants will think about. It's up to these guys. But I like the guy Dallas from Alabama, who's probably the best edge rusher in the country. And you put a monster edge rusher on the other side from Kayvon with Dexter in the middle, because probably the Giants are going to a 4-3. And we get back to being the old school Giants. And you could do that. I'm not going to talk about trade downs because those are things that most likely don't happen. It can, but I'm not going to predict that. You go with the edge at 6. and you eye one of those two QBs to me, JJ or Penix, later in the first or early second, you see how the draft unfolds. I do think we need a young quarterback. I would like us to have one of those top 2 or 3 if Shane and their scouting cards says those are the guys. But if it's not, you do not just draft. You do not reach. Do not reach. We reached for Jones when we did. I'm not going to shit on Jones. I still think he's going to be here, and I still think he's extremely serviceable. He's one of those guys that can't lift the team up like some young guys. You got to put the right line in front of him, which we haven't done. But we're not going to go through the old spoiled milk and go over. This is water under the bridge, man. Sometimes you got to make a change and change the environment and the energy in your franchise. And dude, there's nobody better than a QB or a big time defender to do so. I think the division's there for the taking next year. I think the Giants are going to contend. I think they're going to do the right thing. I trust Dable and Shane. And all with the Dable wing things, who gives a shit, man? Everybody's caught up with drama in this country, with social media and drama. Everybody's bored to death. Nobody gives a fuck. These things went on back in the day. This just wasn't social media to drool over it, okay? You think Buddy Ryan and Mike Ditka liked each other? They hated each other's guts. They took swings at each other during a game. That Bears team won the Super Bowl. Come on, 1985. People don't get along. It's a barbaric sport. There's a lot of testosterone involved. Don't worry about it. Wink's gone. Bye-bye. We're moving on. Yo, Wink undermined the coach. You want to know why? He didn't like when they traded Leo. He quit both the Dallas and the Raiders game. He allowed his defense to lay down. He didn't care. It was a way to stick it to Dable and them for trading Leo. That's fine. I think they made the right move when they traded Leo because we need picks. Hey, Wink, I heard Wink had the same issues towards the end in Baltimore. You gotta understand. Yo, Wink did not respect Dable because Wink feels he should be a head coach in the league right now, and it bothers him that he's not. And that's normal. Yo, we're moving on. Nobody cares. You get another defensive coach in here. It's about the players on the field, brother. We ain't far off. If the offseason goes right and we make a couple of nice moves in free agency, and one would be a guard and another would be a nice wide receiver. And you know what? Draft a safety in the middle rounds because I think McKinney's gone. He's already, the way he talks. You want to talk like that, you could go. Not paying you $100 million. Go be a Hall of Famer for someone else. It's fine. We'll take another safety. We always do. That's not going to make or break our team in the future, believe me. Yo, the division's not far off anymore. What I'm telling you is the Eagles and Dallas are falling back to the pack, and the Giants and Redskins have opportunities here in this draft and offseason to move up to almost even. And then the rest is done with health next year. The Giants ain't far off, and I'm looking forward to the future.